What you believe about money is exactly how money is going to show up in your life, good, bad, or otherwise. I want you to understand and take away from this video that every single dollar that you currently desire for your reality is already existent on earth. It's already printed and somebody else has it in their bank account, and now it's time to transfer over to yours. So $2 million later in sales, I have finally started to understand, right, the energetics of money and the belief system of money and how money actually works. So if you are currently struggling with money and you're in a position where you want to make more money, you know that making more money means that you're a good person and you're gonna do good with that, then this is the right video for you. So go ahead and tap in below, let me know that you're here, and we're gonna get started. So my name's Latice Hudson. If you're new here, if you just found me through this video, I want you to understand that at the core of building a business, you have to make money. As a business owner, you are responsible for a lot of decisions. You're responsible for getting yourself out of bed every day. You're responsible for taking action. You're responsible for marketing, sales. You're responsible for maybe eventually managing a small team. You're responsible for your financials. You're responsible for a whole host of things, a good product, a good offer. And at the core of that is none of that can run without money coming in the door, right? None of that can be efficiently ran if there is no money or cash flow coming into the door. Every single day, and for the last almost 5 years, I've worked with over 1,500 clients and students. One of the common denominators is this, and it's not just mindset work or affirmations or praying up to the sky hoping that God's gonna fix our lives. It's about first taking 100% radical responsibility for the situation that we're in, right? That's the first step for changing our story with money. It's about taking radical responsibility about the situation that we are in with money. It doesn't mean giving yourself, it doesn't mean shaming yourself, it doesn't mean guilting yourself, it doesn't mean making yourself feel bad. It's none of that. It's about looking at your position in life from a neutral perspective of like, these are the actions that I've taken and this is how I've ended up here, period. It's not blaming it on your parents, it's not blaming it on your past. None of that, right? We all have a past, we all have situations, we all have circumstances. But what you have to start to do is rewire your brain to understand that all of that is no longer real, because it's not ignoring that it didn't happen. It's realizing that in your present day to day, you have complete autonomy and power over what you decide to do to get closer to making the money that you desire. So first things first, what we have to do, you guys, is we have to take radical responsibility for our life. When we start to take radical responsibility for our life and the situations that we're in, we could now start to have, right? I know in AA and other different environments like that, they talk about coming into awareness of, that you have a problem, right? And this doesn't mean like if you are struggling with money that you have a problem. I actually choose to believe that it's not a problem. I choose to believe that there's only solutions moving forward. I choose to look at it from a place of overflow and abundance and that it's all solvable. Because like I said at the beginning of this video, every single dollar that you desire is already on the planet. It's already here. There's not going, they may print some more, but for the most part, every single dollar that we desire is on the planet, right? And it's in rotation. The second thing that we have to understand when we think about making money is that a lot of people, when they struggle with money or they're in environments where money is scarce or lack, or constantly talking about how much this costs or constantly worried about how to pay the next bill or that bill or what have you, they're actually living in a state of lack. And the state of lack creates more lack, right? And the more that we are in environments or in situations or relationships with people or places or things that are in lack, we get more of lack, right? It's just like, it's kind of like a cancer. It spreads and spreads and spreads, and eventually it consumes you. This is why when you do start to make money and you backslide, you have to look at your environment and situations. I've been there. So it's not to say that you need to start cutting people off. It's not to say that you need to completely uproot your life and move away. But if that's what it takes for you to get into the headspace that you are worthy and that you deserve every single dollar that you desire, then that may be what it takes. That's what it took for me. I had to get out of environments that were toxic, that were not helpful, that were not growing, because I firmly believe if you're not growing, you're dying. So for me, I had to remove myself from situations and people and places and things that were not headed in the direction of my vision. Okay, so when we think about fixing and growing your relationship with money and no longer struggling with it, you have to also now remove yourself from environments and places and people and things, or shift yourself out of those places, right? So maybe instead of going to brunch with your friends every weekend, maybe you only see them once a month, right? And then you're very adamant and loud about your goals and your vision, right? And you don't shy down about conversations around money. When we don't talk about something, we are causing friction. You are not going to get out of a situation by avoiding it, right? Avoidance is not going to help you improve. You have to start to be radically responsible. You have to start having awareness, and you have to start having conversations about things that actually matter to you. Because people that only talk about the past and live in the past, they're going to get more of the past. So that's not going to be you heading into this next season of your life. The third thing that we need to think about, and I kind of touched on this at the beginning of the video, it's not just about mindset and affirmations. It's about fundamentally, and all of this work is actually about who you're being. It's about stepping into an upgrade era, and it's about radically shifting your identity, right? You can no longer identify as somebody that's broke, or somebody that doesn't have any money, or that somebody that struggles to get sales, or somebody that undercharges, or somebody that has to work 99 hours a week for people to buy from them. Because the more that you identify with that type of life, or that living, or that business model, or that belief system, the more you're gonna get more of that. So you have to start to break ties, like physically start to break ties with that old belief system. So I have my notes here, and some of the things that I personally did to upgrade my identity, because I had to start identifying with the woman that was already wealthy, right? You don't just wake up overnight being wealthy. You don't wake up with the abundance. You have to start to shift who you are with the small habits, actions, and beliefs on a day-to-day basis, because it's the small things. If you ever read the book Atomic Habits, it's the small things that make you 1% better, and after 365 days, you are a completely new person. So I'm gonna read my list on some of the things that I personally did to start shifting my identity to somebody that didn't struggle with making money and like any of that. So first, I started to make decisions faster, right? If I had a decision to make, instead of being scared of making a mistake, I just made the decision and trusted my gut. Even if it was a wrong decision, it was never actually the wrong decision. It was the right decision in that time. Second, I released, again, relationships that were only for potential. I once had an ex-partner tell me, why do you need to make so much money? It's crazy. That month I had a $100,000 month, and the next month I went down to like $30,000 because I let that person get in my head, and I realized that person was not going where I wanted to go. So I had to release them. It wasn't pretty, but it needed to happen for me to be where I'm at today. Third thing I did was I stopped negotiating with myself and my goals. I just was like, I'm not going to be a person that denies themselves success. When I negotiate with myself, I'm negotiating with my dreams. And last time I checked, like, ain't nobody coming to save us. So I stopped negotiating with going on my morning walks and eating the right foods and taking care of my body and resting when I need it, right? Rest is also equally important. You can't build this business and build it off the back of caffeine and working 24/7, right? If you want to live in overflow, you have to live in overflow, right? Every single day. So I stopped negotiating with my goals because I didn't want to identify with the person that, constantly didn't honor their own word with themselves. Just like I asked people to honor their word with their contracts, and my partner to honor her word in our commitment, I had to also honor my word with myself, right? So making my commitment to myself. The fourth thing is I spent money on things that I wanted and not just what I needed. One of the most famous things that I always talk to my clients about is like when they're trying to up-level their money mindset and not be struggling with money, right? And I'm not giving you advice on go spend money that you don't have, but we get ourselves in the situation of spending money that we don't have when we, in the first place, believe that we don't have it, right? We have to make a decision that we have the money. So when I say spending things on what I wanted, I had to first make the decision that I was gonna get the damn thing. Second thing, and it's not just material, it could be something like a nice dinner or something like a vacation, or it could be something as simple as a cup of coffee or what have you, right? So instead of negotiating with myself on looking at who is that multiple 7, 8-figure woman, right? How does she act? How does she exist? How does she show up in the world? I stopped getting water at the restaurant if I didn't want water. If I wanted water, great. But I knew growing up, we only ever got water because it was cheaper. So I started ordering the glass of wine. I started getting the nicer steaks. I started treating myself to 5-star restaurants on a regular basis because I wanted to be in that energy. Right? So for you, maybe it's not the 5-star steakhouses yet, but maybe it's you getting a drink, a $3 drink instead of just water, right? We all can prioritize what we want when we decide and make that decision. The fifth thing is I started valuing my time at the highest regard, right? I no longer was just scrolling on Instagram or looking at what everybody else got. I started valuing my time at the highest regard, right? I saw this on Facebook, and I can't remember the creator. If I can remember, I will tag her, but she talked about we know how poor people operate, right? But what we don't know, right, what a lot of people don't know, we know how poor people operate because it's all around us, right? Especially if you're kind of raised maybe middle class or lower class. But the wealthy are kind of like these untapped, like, you gotta immerse yourself in that environment. And what wealthy people do is they read. Wealthy people value their time. Wealthy people delegate. So we have to start studying what wealthy people do if we want to be wealthy, period. So my time is the most valuable asset, right? I don't do things that I don't want to do. I don't immerse myself in places I don't want to be. I spend my time building my skill set, my mind, my skill set, growing my business, and focusing on the things that bring me joy, right? And I don't play about it. So you have to stop playing about yours too. Number 6, I just started setting better boundaries. I used to set the boundaries, but I never enforced them. So for some of the boundaries that I have in my business and in my life is that, like, I work, right? My work outside of my relationship and my health, my work is a priority for me. And I also am not going to work myself 24/7, right? So with my team, they know when they can contact me. My clients have very set office hours. Boundaries hold you to a higher standard. And if you are charging especially premium rates, you got to hold yourself to a standard that you are going to work when you work and you're not going to work when you're not going to work, right? You got to set those boundaries and furthermore actually enforce them, because people respect people with boundaries and that can respect and honor commitments to themselves. Okay. Couple more. 7, I complain less and focus on solutions, right? It's really easy to get in this place of like complaining, right? But coupled in with one of my last ones is like, instead of complaining, or if I did complain, I would focus on gratitude. I'd focus on being thankful for all of it, and not just the good things, but the bad things, right? When we think about the universal laws, like law of polarity specifically, it talks about every end has an opposite. Just like each side of bread, there's multiple sides of the bread, or 2 sides of the door, right? 2 sides of our hand. Everything has a good or bad, right? So instead of focusing on, oh my gosh, this horrible thing happened to me, or this person said this thing about me online, or what have you, right? I focus on like, I'm so grateful because it caused me to grow. It allowed me to grow. I'm grateful for this. Right? It gave me more time for this, right? So looking at everything with gratitude has changed my life. It has absolutely changed my life, right? The other thing that I changed when we think about making more money is that I realized, and this is going to lead me into the next segment, when we think about making more money, this is going to be the most tangible thing I can give you in this video. Outside of practicing gratitude and setting boundaries, this is going to be the strategic thing that everybody's probably looking for, but the thing that most people forget. You, by default, on this planet, you are a creator. Period. You are a creator. So when we think about how this world has been built, it's been built off the backs of people just like you, me, and everybody in between, by using what's in our brain and impressing it upon the earth to create something. Think about this Apple Watch. It wasn't here, 15 or even 10 years ago. Somebody had the idea and it got created, right? Think about this building. Somebody had the idea to build this building and it got created, right? Think about the shirt that's on your back. Somebody had that idea and it got created, so on and so forth, right? We all have unique individual skills because we are creators of this planet. When we create, we think about the Beyoncés of the world and the Taylor Swifts and the Ushers and like these big superstars, but we think about also our local artists, and we think about the architects, and we think about the person building the road. Like, we're all creative in our own ways. So the best thing that you can do is use your creativity to make you money. And I think a lot of times we get so in our head because we're like, well, who's gonna pay for that? The person that doesn't have that skill set, right? We live in a society where we need each other, right? And your skills are valuable and people will pay for them. Now, this is not to say that some skills are more valuable than others. Why do like freaking male athletes get paid billions, or not billions, but millions of dollars a year? Because people value entertainment, right? People value spending their time that way. So you just have to figure out what's inside of you, what's going to be that skill set that you can monetize off of. What can you grow? What do people really want? And when you tap into the belief and realization that when I create, I make money, you will always have money and you will always live in overflow, right? The number one thing that you got to do today is make a decision that you are going to make money, period. Right? And you're not gonna have to fight for it, you're not gonna have to beg for it, you're not gonna have to steal for it, you're gonna just make money based off of what's up here and how you impress your skill set and your creativity onto the world. When you can figure that out and crack that code, there will always be money on its way to you, period. It's when we stop creating, when we stop focusing on our goals, that's when the money starts to pause or starts to feel like it acts funny or whatever, it feel like it walks away, right? It'll never walk away from you as long as you're creating. It'll always flow to you. okay? So you've got to realize that your perception of money has everything to do with what's up here and who you're being every single day. Are you the person that honors their word? Are you the person that's creative? Are you the person that also takes action along with having faith, right? Because faith without works is dead, period. And realizing that if we get triggered by maybe somebody driving a really nice car or somebody that is flying first class, I want you to stop yourself and say, you know, whatever you pray to, God, universe, spirit, or if you're not religious at all, it doesn't matter, but hand over your heart and just say, wow, like, thank you for showing me to that person what's possible, right? Because I have a belief that jealousy is actually not bad. I think jealousy is a internal trigger for us to look at, to say, wow, that's probably something that I want, right? When you're jealous, it's typically something that you want. So now, once you've made a decision that you're going to get it, you don't need money until you make a decision that you're going to live in that house or buy that car or buy that meal. When you make a decision, the money will always come, right? Through your gifts and your skill set. So when you are feeling jealous or feeling like you're not enough, like, ask yourself and show up for yourself in a way that if I already had it, how would I act? And then you start acting as that person today, right? So this isn't for me to sit here and act like the world's not actually worlding out there, because it very much is, but I know what I can control, and that's this up here. That's the actions that I take every day. That's the things that I do. That's how I help my clients. That's how I show up, right? It's about building skills. I don't care what anybody says. We are heading into the year 2025. If you are not monetizing off your skill sets, you will be left behind. We are in the creator economy. We are competing for attention, and more so, we are looking at traditional ways of making money are falling to the wayside because people are valuing their time so much more, not sitting behind a desk, not using their creativity, okay? So if you are struggling with making money, you are right at the cusp. If you found this video, you are right there, my friend. You are right there. You just have to lean all the way in. And a little bit about my story, I don't come from a trust fund. I don't come from mommy and daddy's money. It's quite the opposite, actually. I come from drug-addicted parents, being adopted at 5 months and being put up for adoption, right? And my dad passing away at 10 years old. Like, I've had to figure it out, right? I didn't have a silver spoon in my mouth. I'm just like a lot of you, right? I figured it out, and I put myself in environments, whether they wanted me there or not, because I knew that I had a place at the table. If I didn't, I was gonna make my own damn table. So from one person to another, one woman to another woman, one person to another, right? You are so far capable than you give yourself credit for. And if you could just focus for the next 6 to 12 months, I promise you your life will get better. 2019, I went from one business, lost everything, to the next, and I went from 30K in 2019 to over $300,000 the next year. So if I could do that, you can too, okay? I promise you, you are well on your way to making all the money that you deserve. Sales is at the core of that. The only way that money transfers hands is through the act of sales. So when you become the woman or the man or the person that believes that your work is doing good in the world, the byproduct of that is going to be living in overflow and more money, right? I also have this fundamental belief, as I wrap up, is that God didn't bring me here just to keep me here, right? I wasn't born and put on this earth just to pay bills and die. Like, I just don't believe that. I just don't believe that we were here as creative beings to be put on this earth to pay bills and die, okay? So if you take anything away from this today, every dollar that you have, you desire is on this planet. You just gotta ask for the sale to go get it. And there's so many people that are willing to trade their money for your unique skills and gifts that you just gotta make yourself visible to do that, okay? And lastly, you've gotta walk in faith always and realize that you are so worthy, and it's going to get really good from here on out. Just believe in yourself and trust yourself and have conviction in the idea that you are capable. You are so capable, far beyond the measures that the limitations of this world has put on you, okay? If I could build a 7-figure business in just a few years, right? You absolutely can too. Put your mind to it, work hard, find joy, and just realize that the moment that you take responsibility and you start making decisions that your life's gonna get better, it absolutely will. So I hope you found value in this video. Definitely click the like button and subscribe for more content just like this. We are all in the era of stepping into our 7-figure upgrade, and at the core of that, it's about shifting who you're being every single day. Honor your commitments, find joy, change your attitude, practice gratitude always, and I'll see you in the next video.